So somebody handling their own case, what could go wrong?
Boy, there are 1,000 things that can go wrong. It is a terrifically complex system. But let's start with the typical scenario. The typical scenario is the insurance company, with its 30 days of control, will send you to a doctor it knows is sympathetic to your point of view because he expects to receive more insurance company business in the future.
But aren't all doctors pretty much the same?
No, they're not. There are doctors that specialize in workers' compensation, that understand the reporting requirements, the things that we need them to tell us. And there are doctors that are also excellent doctors that treat people, that make them better, but they're not necessarily interested or want to be bothered with the reporting requirements for workers' compensation, which creates a problem because we need that information to help injured workers. But there are also doctors that get a lot of money from insurance companies from treating injured workers. And I can tell you, one of their objectives is to get you back to work as quickly and as cheaply as possible.
So what part would you play in this whole process?
Well, one of the things that we want to do, of course, is get you to a doctor that is going to be fair and objective, that will give me reports that I can use to present in court to justify the type of benefits you are seeking. Keep in mind, the insurance companies are purely profit-driven. All right, you are simply another file that they are trying to make money on. They want to minimize the costs of your claim.
Okay, so you said that the doctor looks at you, he says you're fine, he sends you back to work you go. What can you do if you go back to work, everybody tells you you're okay, and 60 days later you're still in pain? Is there anything you can do? Are you out of luck?
Well, again, this all goes back to educating yourself, and that's why we're here to do this. There's a lot of options for you.
I mean, is there a statute of limitations on how long I have to file a claim?
Generally, it's 1 year from the date of the specific injury, or 1 year from the date of your last treatment. But to get back to your prior question, what can you do? There's a lot of things you can do. You can notify your employer that you're still hurt. Sometimes employers will correctly say, well, go back and see the doctor. Sometimes they won't. They'll say, well, the doctor said you're all right. If that happens, you can simply contact the doctor. A lot of times the doctors say, well, I won't see you without authorization. So what you do is you come in, you speak to a workers' compensation attorney, and that workers' compensation attorney will help get you to a doctor that understands the system, that understands reporting requirements, and will help you see that you get the necessary medical care and benefits.
But Juan, I'm still not clear. What would determine whether someone needed to go seek legal counsel with regards to a work injury?
Okay, that's a very good question, and let's take it in two stages. First of all, as a general proposition, the more serious the injury, and the more likely it is that you're going to suffer some residual problems for that injury, probably there's more chance that you need help. Now, there are people that, for instance, you suffer a small cut, maybe requires a couple of stitches. You probably don't need any help for that at all. That's going to go away. It's going to be fixed easily. You're not going to have any residual problems. A muscle pull or something like that, you're not going to need that. But if you suffer a serious injury where you have back surgery issues or broken bones, you probably do need help. That brings up an important point. And we talked a little bit about it earlier, and it was this stigma about filing a claim. And the biggest problem we face, I think injured workers face, is some of the people that we help the most. A lot of times you'll have a great job, and you've been there 15 years, and you're headed towards retirement. And boy, the last thing you want to do...
I could see that being concerned.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is go in and file a workers' compensation claim that's going to anger somebody, and you think you might lose your job. I can tell you, in those circumstances, what we do is we try to weigh what the interests of the worker are and guide them accordingly. Again, we're educating them. It may be very well in that type of case, we'll have the client in.
You do this one-on-one with the client? You have a paralegal, a secretary,
No, let me tell you, that distinguishes our firm from other firms. In fact, I'll bet you if you ask some of your viewers when you're done with this show...
the reason I ask is I knew someone that met their attorney, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today. They met their attorney going into court.
That's not unusual. Unfortunately, there's a lot of high-volume firms that practice that way. It is most important for us, our philosophy is that we need to be accessible to the client. We need to communicate with that client. We think it gives us the ability to prepare a better case. And not only that, again, think about this. You have somebody at home that is scared to death. Their career is possibly on the line. They've been injured. Their family income is down. They're worried about their family. The last thing they want is a poor comfort level because they can't talk to their lawyer. I mean, really, most injured workers that are represented, when is the last time they spoke to their lawyer? When did the last time that they could pick up the phone and get questions answered?
With all this going on, if people aren't represented by legal counsel, who are they represented by? The insurance company, an adjuster, who?
Well, generally the person that is running the case is the insurance company adjuster. That person is deciding oftentimes whether you need medical treatment or not, even though they're not a doctor. They're deciding when and how you're going to get benefits.
This goes on all the time, you're telling me?
All the time. All the time. And this is why people that are hurt are so frustrated.
So you're saying that 90% of the people that don't get legal advice go through this?
They go through this. They have an adjuster controlling their case, an adjuster controlling their future, and an adjuster that works for a profit-driven company. Now, I assure you, that adjuster is not going to sit down and tell you, Mike, what it is you need to do, what buttons you need to press to make the system work the way it's supposed to work.
Well, you worked for, you stated in the beginning that you worked for the insurance company. So you're telling me that the adjuster won't sit down and tell the people all the benefits that are available to them and all the options they have?
That's correct. I did work for the other side, and they will not do that. It's not in their interest. It is not in that insurance company's interest.
How do you think that helps you in what you do today, knowing how they take care of business? How do you think that helps you?
Well, there's two things that impress me, really. First of all, when I work for the defense, is the unbelievable, unlimited resources available to an insurance company to deal with a claim. They can hire anybody they want, money is no object, to try to defeat that claim or minimize it. The other thing that impressed me is how overworked adjusters are. They have hundreds and hundreds of files that are assigned to them, and you get lost in the shuffle in there somewhere, and that's maybe why you're not getting your benefit check. Maybe that's not why you're getting return phone calls. That's why you're not getting the treatment that the system demands that you are supposed to get.
Juan, we've got to take a quick break. We'll come back and talk more about people's legal rights that have been injured on the job. You're watching the Financial News Network. I'm Mike Wittgenstein. We'll be right back.